Okay. Question time for you. Hands up who can give me the answer. Okay. This, what's this called? In English, please. What's it in Norwegian? See? Yeah? Is that right? Era. So this is called era. Yeah. And what's the era for? What's it for? To listen, yeah, to hear and to listen. Well done. Give yourself a round of applause. Yeah. Come on. Okay, next question. This, what's that called? Nesa? I love Norwegians. Nice. Nesa? Okay. And what's the Nesa for? Actually, you know the ear, by the way, the ears, it's for hearing. What else does the ear? It's a very valuable thing. Balance. Well done. Yeah. Okay, the nose is for smelling. And what do we call these? Norwegian, please. I want to learn some. Oina. It's a bit like Arabic, isn't it? Ayn, isn't it? Oina. Okay. And subhanAllah, you could almost find a link between all the languages, But okay, and so what are eyes for? See. Okay. How about these? Yeah? Huh? Teneth. What's that for? Biting, eating, chewing. Okay. Okay. Brother. What's that on your face there? Yeah, here, these things. Yeah. What? Brilled? Huh? Brillere.
Yeah.
Oh, brillere. I'm not even going to try and say mist off. No, I'm not even going to try and say it. Okay. And what do they do, bro? What do they do, those glasses of there's brillere? Yeah, I can't, anyway, I'll have to write it down. What are they for?
They make me see better.
They help you see better. Yeah? Okay. Sis.
Pen.
Yeah? Pen? In Norwegian, please. Pen. I'm going to be fluent in Norwegian. And what does it do? What is it pen for? Yeah? Right. Okay. What's the point of all of this? Think about everything. Think about your body. Think about every single constituent part of your body. It has a purpose. Even your appendix, which they used to think has no purpose, actually they found it has a purpose. They found. After they've chopped out thousands of appendix, they found it has a purpose. Everything you have, your lungs, your heart, your kidney, your eyes, your nose, your feet, and even the externalities, your glasses, your pen, everything has a purpose. It has a reason. It has a purpose. Now let's think about this. Is it really conceivable that every single constituent part of your body, every bit of your body, has a purpose? The sun has a purpose, the moon, the stars, the sea, the grass, even the worm in the earth has a purpose to fertilize the soil. But you, the whole of you, what is your purpose? Is it possible that each thing, everything has a purpose, but the human being does not have a purpose? It's not something we can accept. It doesn't make sense. And so when you ask people, what is the purpose of your life? Sometimes people, they misunderstand the question. What they understand by that is, what do you want to do with your life? Yeah? So then they say, well, my purpose in life is to become a doctor or an engineer, or, my purpose in life is, my girlfriend here, And isn't that nice, And so the purpose in life is your girlfriend until she runs off with one of those guys from the Coca-Cola advert. Remember them? Yeah? And then it's like, What's it all for? Because you just realized that that can't be the purpose of life. You thought your business was the purpose of life until you became bankrupt in the credit crunch. So what's the purpose of my life? You thought the purpose of your life was what you wanted to achieve, you know, in your exams, but you fail your exams. And many people, I'm sorry, it's very sad, you know, they feel despair. In fact, it's so bad, people kill themselves. They commit suicide. They commit suicide because they feel that everything that what they thought their life was about, it's proved to be nothing. So I'm not asking, what do you want to do with your life? I'm saying, why do human beings exist? We know why ants exist, why birds exist, why the sun exists. We know what the pen is for. The pen. We know why it exists. But the human being? What is the purpose of our existence? Now, I'm going to get back to the in-between stage, because there's an in-between stage, and I'm going to jump over that in-between stage. I'm going to get back to it. And I want to jump ahead without going through all the bits and pieces, and I want to jump ahead to answering this question. Okay? But before I will answer the question, I want us to think about some analogies. Okay? Now, does anyone have a mobile phone with an aerial on it? You know those remember the mobile phones used to have little aerials on them? Do you remember? Or are you too young for that? Okay. Okay. Let me borrow your mobile phone, brother. You give me money, you give me your phone. Very hospitable, the people in Norway. Okay. So, we have a mobile phone. Okay. Now, how much did this cost? Without contract, you buy it straight. How much is it going to cost you?
I don't know about now or when I...
Yeah. Someone give me a more advanced mobile phone. It's just this one. I want an expensive one. Oh, yeah. iPhone. All right, sister. That's what I like. Okay. So we've got the iPhone. Now I know that's not cheap. Yeah. So I go down to the marketplace and I buy myself an iPhone. Right. And what do? I use it. Yeah. I bought myself a nice armpit scratcher. Yeah. And I used the mobile phone. I spent £600 or how many kronas? Yeah. Kronas? Yeah. How much? 6,000 kronas to scratch my arms. Right? You know, there's a reason I'm mentioning this. Jazakallah khair. Okay? Don't watch that now. You know, that's... You can eBay it. You know, Abdurrahim scratched his armpit. There's a reason why. Because I know some of you today, maybe you're thinking, look, you know, it's all very nice to talk about, you know, the materialistic society, but, you know, I'm enjoying my life. You know, it has use, it has benefits, right? And my comparison is most people's life is like taking a 6,000 krona mobile phone and using it to scratch your arms, your armpits, right? Yeah, you can give some use to it. You can give some use to your life, but is this really what you have been created for? And unlike a mobile phone, you are not an inanimate object. Okay, there is much more complexity to the human being. Okay, so that mobile phone, I spent 6,000 kronas to scratch my armpit. Most of us would agree, this person is a fool. I mean, either you got too much money, right, and too little sense, right, or you really are a fool. I mean, that's a waste. That's a really criminal waste. Okay? And another thing I want to think about, okay? When I get my shiny, nice new iPhone, and I know most of us, we have a familiarity with technology and so on and so forth, but I remember when I first got my first mobile phone, Actually, for many years I refused to have a mobile phone. But anyway, my friend, he gave me his one and he kept insisting, I can't contact you and this, and eventually I gave in and he gave me his mobile phone. Now, I had never used a mobile phone before, right? And so he gave me the phone, but there's something he didn't give me with the phone that would have been really useful. Huh? What is that? Oh, the charger, he gave me the charger. Okay. What else? Yeah, the SIM card, I had a SIM card. Okay, the instruction manual. I mean, I admit, the most basic function, I could make a phone call. But I know the phone had about 20, 30 different functions that I never ever learned how to use. Right? Because I never had the instruction manual. I never had the instruction manual. Now that phone, I don't remember, let's say it was made by Nokia. Yeah? Now let's try, I want to get an instruction manual. And let's say I get an instruction manual by Sony Ericsson. Is that any good for me? Okay. I've got a Nokia phone. I've got a particular model of a Nokia phone. What do I want? I want the instruction manual from the manufacturer, right? I want the one who made the phone to give me the instruction manual on how to run that phone. If I want to know how to use it, what's it for, what is its features, what is its functions, I need the instruction manual from the one who made the phone. And I hope that you're getting my analogy. If you want to know what is the purpose of your life, if you want to know the reason for which you exist, if you want to know how to live your life in the best possible way, according to the reason for which you are created, okay, I don't need instructions from Freud, Lenin, Marx, Descartes, Aristotle, Plato. Believe me, they all need instruction manuals themselves. Right? I want the instruction manual from the one who made me. I want the instruction manual and I want the guidance from the one who created me and brought me into existence. Because everything else is really just guesswork. Everything else is conjecture. What they call in Arabic, dhan. Speculation, guesswork, conjecture. If I want to know what is the reason for my existence, if I want to know what is the purpose for which and by which I exist, the only one who can really inform me of that is the one who gave me existence, who created me, and who made me. Now I'm going to go back to the mobile phone. Because I tell you what, right? I could give the brother who invited me, I said, you know, I'm going to change the topics a bit and mix the purpose of life with does God exist? He said, but your does God exist talk is, you know, it's 1 hour, 45 minutes. I said, you know, that's another talk. You know, this is, you know, everything we, you know, horses for courses, we say, you know, no problem. So I said, okay. This is coming to the question. I'm not going to go through all the different philosophical arguments, right, that discuss as to whether God exists or not. What I'm going to do is I'm simply going to present to you what I think is the most effective argument. Can I prove to you that there's a God? Intellectually, rationally, to be frank, I don't think I can prove it, right? But what I do believe I can do is illustrate why believing in the existence of a transcendent creator, meaning believing in the existence of a God who is different and separate and unique. So he is distinct from, or the creator is distinct from the creation, is the most rational and sensible explanation for the existence of our universe, our world, and ourselves. And to illustrate the point, I'm going to go back to the mobile phone. I'm going to go back to the mobile phone. Now, here we have a simpler mobile phone. Sorry, brother. And although I don't know the brother, I'm going to speculate now as to where he got this mobile phone from. Okay? He was walking. Now, first of all, I just want to think about something. What are the essential components of this phone? The materials it's made out of. The casing's made out of plastic. Yeah. And inside there's a little chip. Yeah. There's a little chip. Yeah. We call it, what do we call it? A silicon chip. What's silicon? Silicon is sand. Plastic comes from? Oil. Okay, name me a place where there's lots of oil and sand. Huh? Actually, Iraq is better. There's you know the oil in Iraq, they say you put in the areas where there's oil, you put a straw in the ground and oil comes out. It's the most easy oil to extract in the world. Okay? So, the brother was visiting Iraq. I'm not trying to put you in trouble, brother. Okay? And innocently, he was visiting Iraq, he was walking along, and there he found on the ground the mobile phone, a product of millions of years of chance and coincidence. You see, the oil bubbled, the sand blew, the lightning struck, the sun shone, the camel trod. And after millions of years of random events, this phone randomly formed itself by chance and coincidence into the mobile phone that we have here today. He picked it up, pressed the button, and he called his mum. Okay? Now, you know, I'm sure we all agree that that is preposterous. And in fact, you might say, what do you say? Well, how preposterous is it? Right? Is it because I said 1,000,000 years? Okay, how about 1,000,000,000? Does it make it less preposterous if I say 1,000,000,000 years? How about 2,000,000,000 years? Well, how about, let's take what Obama's giving, 875 billion, yeah, to bail out the banks. Let's add, how about 875 billion years? Do you still think you might get a mobile phone? Maybe. Maybe someone might say, yeah, maybe, right? And this is the thing, you see. What the atheist is asking us to believe is something actually more incredible than that. More incredible. Because the most basic living cell is much more complex than this mobile phone. Yet they are still trying to make us believe, and I don't care how many billions of years you want to put it, that that is a product of merely some random events. In fact, if we look at the universe itself, if we look at the mechanisms through which and by which the universe exists and continues to exist, they are even more complicated and complex than the biological processes that exist on our earth. I am telling you that the claim that this universe is a product of random events, it's a product of chance and coincidence, is not a rational claim at all. In fact, the most rational claim is that when we see things working according to laws, according to systems, according to patterns, when we see mechanisms, our human experience, our common sense, our common human experience tells us that if I find a mobile phone, if I find something working according to mechanisms and patterns, it could be something even more simple than a mobile phone, a pen. In fact, it could be more simple than that. I could be an archaeologist digging in the desert and I find a simple piece of pottery. And for me, that piece of pottery is conclusive proof of the civilization that brought it into existence. I don't need to see that civilization. I don't need to see them. I don't need to see those people. But the existence of that is proof of the intelligence that brought it. In fact, I can examine it and tell you many things about that civilization just by examining one piece of pottery, which is a lot less complicated than a mobile phone. So the most powerful argument, in my opinion, for the existence of a creator is the existence of an organized, systemized universe in which we live. And there are other arguments, but this to me is clearly the most powerful and the most profound one and the most rational one. And the proposition that it is a product of chance and coincidence, to me, is merely that. A proposition. That's all it remains. Now there are some people who are dedicated atheists, and they literally dedicate their lives simply, all they're trying to do is make the proposition less likely. That's all they can do. Because fundamentally, human beings, intellectually, rationally, and by the way, by our very instinctual selves as well. I mean, I believe it's a basic instinct. We believe that this universe has a creator. All the atheist can do is try and show how it is less likely and how it might be possible through some processes that these things may have happened through some random events. All it ultimately comes down to is a proposition. Because if you look at that rationally, and by the way, they mention this concerning biological processes, right? And they successfully managed to convince some people. But when you come to the laws through which and by which the universe is governed, it's a totally different kettle of fish. Right? It's a totally different proposition. It's very, very hard. Most physicists, astrophysicists, they will admit that the idea that this is some random event is very hard to accept. Okay? So they try to show that, oh, in some ways it might be less likely. And if you just look at those arguments, most people would not be persuaded. Okay, they will not be persuaded to believe there is not a God. Because an atheist believes there is not a God. Not someone who doesn't know, maybe there is, maybe there isn't, I don't know. No, an atheist says there isn't a God, and that's what I believe. Right? And what do you find? Is the argument of the atheist, let's go back, is an emotional argument. Most of their most powerful arguments are not rational arguments. They are emotional arguments. There is so much suffering in the world. Children are dying. There are earthquakes. There is disease. How can there be a God? Yeah, sound familiar? All wars have been caused by religion. Okay. First World War, Second World War, Pol Pot, Stalin. Okay, not much religion there, but except if you accept our definition of religion, right? But put that aside, you know. Okay, but, you know, I mean, but let's go back. All wars are caused by religion. Is this, and I want to ask you, is this really a rational argument? What has this got to do with the existence of an organized, systemized universe and planet in which we live? Absolutely nothing. All it questions is theological discussions about the nature of God. But it doesn't tell us as to whether there is a creator or not. So what they're saying is, how can there be a good God? How can your Christian God, your Muslim God, your whatever, right? But actually it's got nothing to do with the fundamental question as to whether there is a creator who exists that has brought this universe into existence. But it's an emotional argument. And most people, like we are indoctrinated to be socialized into this system, similarly, by the way, it's a materialistic society. A materialistic society, it's in its self-interest as a materialistic society to make you or to persuade you not to believe in a creator, to invest your time, your energy, your effort into this world. And that's why, and it's not my intention, by the way, to outrightly dismiss the theory of evolution. But the theory of evolution is a major theological, and I use this term on purpose, theological backbone of the materialistic society. And let's go back. Why? Because basically the theory of evolution is saying that human beings are basically sophisticated monkeys. That's what it's saying. Yeah? I know evolution doesn't say that we evolved from apes. I know that evolution says that we and apes are supposed to have evolved from common primates. But the point being is, if we reduce it, basically we are just animals. Sophisticated animals. But we are essentially monkeys. Sophisticated monkeys. Right? And that's it. There's nothing more to us. There's no deeper purpose. So it's very simple. Right? How do you make a monkey happy? Yeah? It's very simple. Give monkey banana. Right? Monkey's happy. Yeah? Give man monkey, woman monkey. You got a happy monkey. Right? And keep the monkey safe. Right? From, the dangerous things, and what have you got? You've got a happy monkey. How do you keep human monkey happy? Same thing, right? We give you some food, we give you some clothes, we let you have lots of sex, right? If man monkey doesn't like woman monkey, okay, man monkey, woman monkey, woman monkey. It's okay, it's all your animal passions, right? It's just your basic animal passions, right? Just do it, yeah? Just follow your desires, because that's it, all you are. What is it? You don't need to be lumbered down by these taboos, because basically you're just an animal. A slightly sophisticated one, but that's it. So that links up very nicely with the whole consumer philosophy. If you think science is merely some dispassionate examination of the facts, you need to think again. You need to see some of the scientific evidence produced in the Soviet Union, right? Who outrightly dismissed any theory, any scientific theory that indicated that there may be some intelligent being that created this universe, was written off. It didn't matter it didn't actually matter what the data was. The fact that it suggested an ideological viewpoint contrary to their own was dismissed, right? Similarly, there is a lot of scientific research done by alcohol companies, tobacco companies, right? How much of the medicine that we consume is produced under so-called scientific conditions, but it's all biased. Biased based upon a system of medicine that makes you buy the medicine. It's not based upon curing you. No. In fact, it's in the interests of these multinational medical companies for you to be ill, because as long as you're ill, you'll keep taking their pills. Right? So scientific research, right? Scientists are just as open to ideological influences as anybody else. Right? Now, it's not my intention to say evolution is true or not. It's just a fact that there is a very convenient connection between that theory and this. Okay? And it goes back, and this is what I go back to. What I would say is really, in reality, the most convincing explanation for an organized, systemized universe is the existence of an intelligent, wise being that has brought it into existence. Now, I know there are many questions that go on from that. I propose just now to answer some of those questions, right? But in order to do that, I just need to develop a few ideas, okay? Let's agree, just for the sake of this discussion, that yes, the universe works according to laws, it works according to systems, it's very difficult, and I could go into some details of those things. We could talk. Let's just briefly mention some things like the alternation of the night and the day. It's very interesting. The Earth spinning on its axis once every 24 hours. I want you to imagine the Earth spins very, very slowly on its axis. Instead of it spinning on its axis once every 24 hours, imagine it spins on its axis once every 30 years. So imagine one part of the Earth's surface is exposed to the sun for 30 years, and one part of the Earth's surface is absent from sun for 30 years, right? And in astronomical terms, that's not a big difference, right? But what would that effect do you think that would have on life on this planet? Yeah? What do you think? You think life would exist? Well, not the way it does, right? Almost definitely. What if the Earth was closer to the sun? Or what if it was further away from the sun? We have other planets, we can see the result. What if it was bigger or smaller? The gravitational effect. How about the composition of gases in the atmosphere? Oxygen, essential for life. Too much oxygen actually poisons life. You need carbon dioxide, you need nitrogen, you need a fine balance. And how about that fantastic gas, the ozone? How about that? That has this amazing quality of filtering out the harmful effects of the sun's radiation. What if that wasn't there? We'd all be nuked by the sun's radiation, right? I mean, what an amazing balance an amazingly fine balance. You know, if you compared the earth, if you shrunk the earth to the size of a snooker, a billiards ball, you know, billiards ball, right? The earth is smoother. And this is just concerning some things. If we actually started to go into the whole way the universe is constructed, it becomes even more amazing. So we have a question. The question is, how did it happen like that? There must be some intelligence behind it. There must be some creative power behind it. But this question leads us to ask something about the nature of the universe and this being, or these beings, because it may not be one being. We accept that. Okay? So let's ask the question. Did the universe create itself? I'm asking a question. Do you ever get something coming from nothing? You don't. That's our universal human experience. You don't find something coming from nothing. It didn't create itself. It didn't come from nothing. And we're not the creators of it. So the universe must have a creator. Now, one thing we can presume logically, rationally, is the nature of the creator must be different from the nature of the creation. Why? I'll tell you why. The reason is because if the nature of the creator is the same as the creation, then, well, that's not the creator. That's just more creation. And then we still ask the question, well, who created that then? And you've probably heard this question. If everything needs a creator, who created the creator? Yeah? You heard that one? Yeah? It's actually another silly argument, right? It's actually another silly argument. And the person who asked that question doesn't understand the nature of what we're discussing. And I'll tell you why. And I'm simply going to illustrate this with an example. Say you see this platform here. Okay, I want to lift it, right? I can't do it, okay? Need some of that Coca-Cola, right? So I can't do it, so I asked someone to help me. Can you come and help me lift the thing? He said, sure, but only on the condition that someone else comes and helps me, right? And he says, yeah, I will help you, but only if someone else comes and helps me. And he says, yeah, sure. Do you get my point? So if everyone will only help if someone else helps, what will happen to this plinth? Yeah? It's going to stay where it is. It will never get lifted. Yeah? Let's just use that analogy and go back to our universe. If you have creator creating the creator, creating a creator, creating a creator, right? Forever and ever, what happens? You never get anything created. You don't get the creation, right? That's why logically we can presume that a limited, finite, temporary universe must be created by a being whose nature is different. So if the nature of the universe is that it is limited and temporary and finite, then the nature of the creator must be that the creator must be infinite, self-sufficient, and eternal. Right? And that is how logically, rationally, we can understand that the creator of the universe must be an eternal, self-sufficient, and infinite creator. In other words, a transcendent being. Something that is different from the creation. And obviously you can understand that the question, who created the creator, doesn't apply to an eternal, infinite being. It's a non-question. It doesn't mean anything when applied to that being. Right? Now, can we presume, does it make any logical sense that there are two infinite beings? No. Two infinite, self-sufficient, eternal beings? I think for obvious reasons we can say that that doesn't make any sense. And that's why we conclude rationally. It's a rational conclusion of the rational mind that there is one eternal, self-sufficient being that has brought this universe into existence. It's something that makes complete rational sense. It is not an irrational belief. It's quite the opposite. It is quite rational. It makes a lot of sense. It's the other arguments we have to examine whether they make any sense or not. And by and large, this is what most human beings believe. But what human beings generally have done is that they have taken some things within the creation and they have attributed to them some of the qualities, some of the attributes, some of the knowledge, some of the power that actually only belongs to God. They have taken them as gods besides God. They have worshipped them. They have deified them. They imagine that they have the power. They imagine that they have the strength, the capability that only indeed the Creator has. Now, that is one rational proof that we can use in order to show rationally that there is a one transcendent God. And actually, I challenge you to find me a religion that teaches a concept of God like that, except Islam, that doesn't compromise it. Now, you may say Christianity, but I'm sorry, Christianity doesn't fit the bill for one simple reason. Christianity claims that Jesus is God. And Jesus ate food, he breathed air, he was born, he died, meaning he was finite, needy, and limited. Something by definition can't be finite and be infinite at the same time. Something can't be needy and be self-sufficient at the same time. Something can't be temporary and eternal at the same time. That is the very definition of impossibility. It's not a paradox, it's an impossibility. You can never prove an impossibility. You can believe it if you want. You can believe an impossibility if you want. But then on what basis can you justify believing in such a thing? And by the way, that goes for any religion that claims a human being is God. Or any religion that says the universe is God. Then, okay, bring me your proof, your argument. Based upon what do you say that? So the point is that the rational mind will conclude this. This is what the Quran teaches about God. This is what Islam teaches about God. Essentially, this is exactly what the Quran teaches about the Creator of the heavens and the earth. Now, there's something else I want to get to. Because I don't believe that the rational argument on its own is a conclusive proof. But I think it's pretty much conclusive. But I don't think it's absolutely conclusive. I think you need to combine that with some other things. And there's two other things you need to combine it with. One I'm going to talk about right now, and the other I'm going to be touching upon it tomorrow. Okay? The first thing, but what I want to talk about today, and this is where I want to finish, and we'll go to question and answers, is another type of proof, another type of evidence. Now let me ask you again to think about something, right? Imagine this is red hot. Yeah? Red hot. Yeah? If I give it to you, brother, right, and it's red hot, yeah, what are you going to do? Yeah, you see, here's the difference. Is this hot or not? No, it's not hot. He's just whatever. But if it's really red hot, what's he going to do? Yeah? Huh? He's going to drop it, right? Does he have to think about it? Do you have to think about it? It's a reflex action, right? Now, wouldn't you agree that that reflex action is still knowledge? It's still information, isn't it? It is still information, is it not? Right? But where did that information come from? You don't think about it. You didn't analyze it. You don't think, oh, I need to. It's something that happens. It's information that you are programmed with. Right? And I believe, and Muslims generally believe, that you have an inbuilt reflex response towards God, to the Creator, the one God. Just like when something's hot, you drop it and you don't think about it. There are certain incidents that will happen in your life, and what you will do, your reflex action will be to call upon God. Now when I say call upon God, it's not the name here. You may say, oh Jesus, right? But if you said, oh Jesus, or you say, oh Buddha, right? You don't actually mean Jesus or Buddha. Because believe, if Jesus was standing next to you and that thing happened, you wouldn't be turning him and say, Jesus, help me, right? You wouldn't, right? You would be calling on the same being that Jesus himself would be calling upon, right? Because it's just the name that has been programmed into your head, but it's the concept. The concept, the being that you call upon, is that being that you know has power and control over everything in this universe. You instinctively know that there is a being that has the ability to rescue you from your predicament. And the Quran gives an example. It gives the example of people on a boat. They're on the boat and the waves are coming in the sea, and the waves that you can imagine crashing over this boat. The waves are like the roof of a tent crashing down. And the people know the captain is not going to save us, right? The boat, meaning our technology, is not going to save us, right? So everything, they know their money is not going to save them. They know their Norwegian passport is not going to help them. Right? They know looking beautiful and, you know, my slim body, that's not going to help you either. Right? And your kronas, they're soaking wet, they ain't going to help you. There's no way you're going to buy yourself out of this one. You mean every single thing that you thought was going to give you what you want and what you need, now you know that it's all worth nothing. All the gods that you worshipped, all the idols in which you put your faith and your trust, whether they're idols of money, power, wealth, or whether they're idols, sticks and stones that you actually pray to, similarly. If you pray to those bits of wood and sticks and stone and you thought that this thing was going to help you, you know now, right, that the idol is going to sink along with you. It ain't going to help you. But there is something you know instinctively in yourself, a being that has power over everything in this universe, and that is the being that you call out to. That is the being. That is the creator. That is the one that you know in the depths of your own being has that power and ability, and you say, oh God, oh this being, you call upon this being to help you and to rescue you. Right? This is your instinct. It's built and hardwired into every single one of you. That is why la ikraha fid din. There's no compulsion in religion. I don't need to compel you to be Muslim. It's not even my job to guide you. I am just here to remind you of what you already know. You already know. You already know that you have a creator. You already know that there is a being that has control over you and everything in your life, and you recognize it in your life. But the question is, like so many of us, right? When God does rescue us, you know what? People ask me, have you been to, a lot of people said, have you been to Oslo before? I said, okay, I'll tell you what happened. A couple of years ago, I went to Åre. Did I say it right? Åre, the ski resort in Sweden. Yeah? I was there and we went with a group of Muslims, okay? And one girl, she fell over, knocked her head. She got flown to a hospital in Norway, and we had to drive and pick her up, and then we drove from that hospital all the way down Norway to Stockholm, and I passed Oslo on the way, so I saw some buildings. I've seen Oslo now, you know, now I can die, you know. Not quite Venice, actually, but it's nice, lovely city. But what am I getting to? Yes, one of the girls with us, poor thing, she'd only just started skiing. And, you know, as she's skiing along and she's doing okay, she saw these kids just like zooming over this slope, right? She said, okay, that must be easy little kids, you know, I'll just follow them, right? And she found herself on a black slope, right? And she's a green slope skier, you know, green sort of easy blue. And she was telling us, right, she was so scared, she was crying, all right? And what she was saying, oh God, please save me. Please help me. Please, please. I will be a good Muslim. I will pray 5 times a day. Please, God, save me, save me, save me. And she was admitting this to us, right? All the promises she made to God. And, you know, she got down to the bottom. And did she start praying? Did she start being? No. Okay, so isn't that's the human being, right? You know, God shows you his signs. He shows you. You make your promises, you make your pledges, you devote yourself to complete and utter devotion to God, but then God saves you, and what you go back to, all the things that you used to worship before. Now that's what most people do, right? But the reality is that is a proof against you, what happened to you. So there are many different levels of proof that we can offer, okay? And the final one that I want to offer is to do with experience. Right? But that's not what I'm going to talk about today. I'm going to be talking about that a bit tomorrow. inshallah, on my lecture about how I became Muslim on my journey to Islam. Everybody, I hope that we've all learned something today. I've learned some Norwegian. It's fantastic. And I hope you've learned some things as well. It's been a real pleasure. You've been fantastic. Thank you very much. Assalamu alaikum. Jazakallah khair.